in flying, both in helicopters and in fixed-wing aircraft, over Duc Ton district every day, I soon learned where every South Vietnamese outpost was, with friendly troops that we were supporting. And that paid off significantly one night when the Vietcong mounted an attack on one of the South Vietnamese outposts and overran it, which is to say they breached the fortifications, were into the outpost, and were shooting it up and killed and wounded a large number of the South Vietnamese troops that were there. Before they were overrun by the Viet Cong, that unit managed to make a report back to its headquarters, which was right co-located with our American advisory team. And the South Vietnamese officers with whom we worked came to our compound very excited and indicating that this had been a terrible attack. There were numerous casualties and that they needed helicopter medical evacuation, all of which was provided only by American helicopters that would fly in any situation to pick up the wounded. The helicopter call sign for these medical evacuation helicopters was dust off. And dust off became a part of the military parlance among Americans in Vietnam. To be dusted off was that you were hurt and had to be picked up by one of these helicopters and rushed to a medical hospital facility. And so, as was keeping with the protocol, we placed the call to the medical evacuation helicopters, and soon one of them was there calling us on the radio, reporting, saying, this is dust off 4-4, we're on station, meaning they're here, put us in contact with the outpost so that we can land. But there was no contact with the outpost possible. All their radios had been disabled, their people were killed or wounded, and there was no one to be able to guide the dust-off helicopter in pitch black night into this location. In that absence, we of course couldn't know whether the Viet Cong were still there or not. Would it be a hot landing zone, a hot LZ, as it was referred, where the enemy could shoot you up or not? And there was no way to get in. So I said on the radio, I told Dust Off 4-4, come and land at our helicopter pad. I will get on. I'll bring a Vietnamese officer with me, and I know where it is. I will guide you there. So Dust Off 4-4 lands. I get into the back with the Vietnamese officer. He and I are speaking Vietnamese. We pick up. So now it's just this one helicopter. No support helicopters, no gunships. And I direct them start flying at low level down this canal. All we have is moonlight to guide us. If you turn on the running lights or searchlights, you're making yourself a target. And so in the moonlight, we start flying down this helicopter in the direction of the outpost. And as we're coming, I tell over the radio, I tell the pilots, up ahead, there'll be a break in the trees, in the tree line, which you can barely make out. You turn left there, fly through the tree line, and shortly thereafter, you will see the outpost. So he's following that. He follows my directions. We turn, and we're coming now is the moment of truth, because we're coming into land. We don't know who's there. You don't know whether the Viet Cong is there, but press ahead, comes in and lands, and it's this incredible scene of bodies laying about The wounded are being carried and put into our helicopter. It's now filled up with 15 or more wounded South Vietnamese troops. There are still others to be taken out. We pick up, fly back out, and we head to the U.S. Medical Evacuation Hospital. We get there, we land, hospital staff come out, they unload all the wounded, and we go back and I guide them in again. And we we land, another 15 plus are loaded on. We pick up, we take everybody with us now who's alive, wounded, alive. Helicopter is straining, but it picks up, and we make the second trip to the Medical Evacuation Hospital. And when that's over, dust off 4-4, brings me back, lands at Duc Ton. I go back inside, and that was the event of the night, and that bringing out all of these wounded personnel, saving lives, getting them to medical help, all because I knew where the outpost was, and I was willing to get on the helicopter and guide it in there despite the risks.